I'm Stacey Holmes, and this is Glordinary, a few moments where we celebrate God's glory and champion the ordinary. I'm glad you're here. You know those seasons of life where everything's just flowing? You've found your rhythm and life is just going according to plan. Yeah, that was a good day. Was that a Tuesday? And then there's the other times where one interruption after another stop by to say, hello, how could we wreck your day today? You know they're not getting hired at Chick-fil-A. Yes, this is one of those times I kind of feel like I'm getting my you-know-what handed to me on the daily. By day 2 of our school year, I was near tears, and this is my 13th year homeschooling. I usually make it till at least October without tears. February on a good year. What gives? Well, there's a few extra factors involved this go-around. For starters, my husband John's working 1,000 miles away for the entire month. Not loving that. Our oldest is taking 3 college classes at 2 different campuses. Our youngest is performing in the musical Annie this month. And why not add extra performances? Because who doesn't have time for 9 performances? And lest we forget dear Rollo, that handsome Springer doodle, he's so overgrown and shaggy that nearly every time he does his business, I have the pleasure of washing the smush off his tush. Awesome. Only 10 more days until the groomer. Only 10 more days until the groomer. But at the end of the day, those are just the surface level things, right? It's never really about the dog poo. It's something more this time, something deeper, and I know what it is. I hear the whispers deep within my soul. I sense the gentle invitation. The conversation's right there. There's no more avoiding it. I've got to come to terms with it. I'm the mom of a high school senior. There, I said it. And yes, while you might instantly be thinking, oh, yep, that's hard. You'll be fine though. But this one feels layered, and it's laced with fears that even a good old ugly cry can't touch. Because our daughter's going to leave the nest. She's going to launch into the great unknown, and it's all going to be my fault. Well, that's what my brain tells me at 2:38 a.m. That's when those menopausal night sweats and the what did I miss fears, yeah, they'll keep you up at night. It's my fault because I'm the one who said yes to kindergarten in 2013. And every year since. Well, not kindergarten, homeschooling. I'm the one who taught her to tell time and sound out words and do long division. I'm the one who relearned Algebra 2 and chemistry and the one who bought all the dead animals for biology dissection. I'm the one who bears the weight of every single gap that's yet to be taught, to be learned, to be mastered. What if I failed? Did I do enough, test enough, try enough, practice enough, work hard enough, study enough? Did I do enough? Enough what? Enough to succeed, of course. Enough to win, to be profitable. Enough for it to matter. Enough for success. And there it is. The conversation I really don't want to be having, and yet the most valuable one. Because somewhere along the way, I believed the same lie that you did too. That our value is tied to our results. And I don't grade on a curve when it comes to myself. Oh man, it keeps me anxious, either running circles around myself or stuck in self-doubt. Yet nothing could be further from the truth, as in his, capital T, truth. Matthew 25 reminds us of the parable of the talents. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't particularly love this story. I just don't, which is fine because my opinion on it doesn't change the validity of its truth. God's big enough to handle the fact that I don't love it, and I'm woman enough to acknowledge that I don't get to ignore its permanent place in Scripture. So here we are. As a quick reminder, this parable follows a man leaving on a journey. He calls 3 servants to himself and entrusts his property to them, specifically talents. Again, for my etymological nerds, talent originally referred to a unit of weight. Then it was a sum of money, and now today, it's where we derive our word for an ability or gift. And fun fact, the modern usage of the word talent specifically comes from this parable in Matthew 25. Go Jesus, I see you. But enough nerd talk, back on track. The first servant puts his money to work and quickly doubles his share. The second servant does the same with the same results. However, the third servant gets a little bit nervous. He clams up, hunkers down, and just buries it. The master comes back, and the servants share their wealth, or lack thereof, and the master chimes back with this one-liner to the first two servants. "Well done, good and faithful servant." It doesn't exactly fare so well for servant number 3. "You wicked, lazy servant." Ouch. And if the story ends there, it's easy to see why we live the way we do. Drive, mule. Work harder, longer, faster, more. But that's not the beginning, the end, or even the point of the story. The crux is in the invitation. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his property to them. That's Matthew 25, verse 14. The point is the invitation to entrust. He entrusted to them, to me, to you, what was his all along. Because the point of this story and the point of our lives isn't about results. It's about being entrusted with what's his anyway. And the single most important conversation that we could ever have, just like the conversation between master and servant, is to hear those words. "Well done, good and faithful servant." Wait, good and what? Faithful. Not successful, not profitable, not wise, not organized, not winning. Nope. Faithful. And you want to know what faithful means in the original Greek language? Trustworthy. Well done, good and trustworthy servant. Well, that's a whole different ending place, and it's a whole different starting place too. Because remember, it says, again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his property to them. Full circle, because it starts and ends with trust. Being entrusted with what's rightfully God's all along, and trusting him despite the results. Because he never called me to be successful. He called me to be faithful, to show up day in, day out, one foot in front of the other. Yet somewhere along the way, I mix things up, not just once, but twice. You see, I'm not always working for the right quote-unquote master. I find myself striving to hear "well done" from a multitude of people and places, including my own pride. And it gets me in trouble when I twist myself in knots, I walk across fire, and I fail to put my own oxygen mask on just to please everyone else. I'd be wise to lean into this question, Stace, whose well done are you working for? Secondly, I get a little Mad Lib happy. Do you remember those fill-in-the-blank word stories where you're asked to give a noun, adjective, verb, or adverb without hearing the story? While it might lead you to some gut-busting, wet-your-pants inside jokes, it doesn't always serve you well in life. Because God says, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Yet I fill in the blank with a slew of other adjectives. "Well done, good and brilliant servant, good and successful servant, good and profitable servant, good and size 6 servant, good and stylish servant, good and killing it at life servant." Really, Stace? Uh-huh. Except God never called me to be successful. He called me to be faithful, to work with all my might, one foot in front of the other, one day at a time. So I'm left with two questions. Whose well done am I working for? And what's my fill-in-the-blank adjective? Oh, friend, it's about so much more than results. Whether you're nearing the end of a journey like I am with homeschooling a senior, whether you're smack in the middle of a journey or just beginning, it's about trusting the one who entrusts you with what's already his. It's about putting one step in front of the other in our everyday, ordinary lives. And it's about finding him faithful, trustworthy, reliable, step by step, one day at a time. We can do this. You can do this, and so can I, because on this journey called life, we learn that he's worth trusting. So let's review. He's worth trusting because he's the only one to thoroughly open our minds to understand the scriptures, for his word to literally companion us throughout life. He's worth trusting to prioritize the non-negotiable of life, to keep the single most important thing, the priority, front of mind, to hold our mind to the priority of this life. And when we find ourselves constantly interrupted along the way, which we will every single day, we accept it for what it is, an invitation to form His very good plans within our lives. Because at the end of the day, there's only one well done I'm looking to hear, and it comes from none other than the one Paul describes in 1 Thessalonians 5:24 that says, "The one who calls you is faithful. Well done, good and faithful servant." Remember, you're not alone in this. I'm praying for you, friend. Have a glordinary day.